Sveiki, gyvi susirinkę į spaudos konferenciją, kurioje dalyvauja ir Lietuvos vidaus reikalų ministras, kuris šiandien pirmininkavo neformaliai sporto tarybai,
who presided over the informal Ministerial Council for Sport, and by Mr. Rimšelis, who is the director of the Department of Physical Activity and Sport. The floor goes to the minister.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for your coming. It's a very big pleasure to meet you here. As you know, like today we had informal meeting of the sports of European Union, but I will follow in Lithuanian language. Ir taip, gerbiami žurnalistai, ponios ir ponai.
Dear journalists, ladies and gentlemen, over the last couple of days here in Vilnius, there have been a lot of discussions relating to sport. Before lunch, we closed the Sports Forum, a major representative event organized by the European Commission. Now the Informal Council of EU Ministers for Sport is taking place. Both of these events and their content reflect one of the main priorities of the Lithuanian presidency in the area of sport. That is strengthening sport as a sector. I will give a very brief overview of today's agenda. The first session of the meeting was devoted to ministers' discussion on the contribution and legacy of major sports events. We analyzed the impact of major international sport events, such as the Olympic Games and World Championships, on the welfare of EU member states and their legacy in different areas of life. Every member state has some experience and, in certain cases, extensive experience in organizing major international sports events. Therefore, it is very important to share this extensive experience. I would like to use this opportunity and thank the Lithuanian Basketball Federation and the European Football Association, UEFA, for their comprehensive and interesting presentations that were given to the ministers. During the second session of the meeting, ministers will discuss the contribution of sport to the EU economy. To make sure that sport policy would be evidence-based, we have invited high-level experts and analysts to the ministerial meeting. Professor Vilma Čingienė from Lithuania and Professor Holger Preuss. They will give their vision on the data that should be available in order to measure the contribution of the sports sector into the EU's GDP. I should also inform you that the Finnish delegation made a statement on ensuring human rights in organizing major international sport events. The statement was supported by a number of delegations who are here in Lithuania. Today we are gathered here for an informal council. I would like to stress that this is an informal council which is a forum for discussions and not the event where formal decisions are adopted. Therefore, member states have the possibility of taking further decisions on this issue as they see fit. Thank you for your attention, and I now give the floor to the representative of the Commission.
Your floors.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here, the European Commission is very pleased and would like to thank the Lithuanian presidency for having invited us participating in this informal ministerial meeting. And the Commission was also pleased to have organized the European Sports Forum in this beautiful city of Vilnius. And the Sports Forum is a major event in EU sports policy, which gathers sports organizations and public authorities from all over Europe, and to discuss the European dimension in sport. And we have informed the forum and took the opportunity of having all the representatives of sport in Europe being present to inform them of the latest state of play regarding the EU work plan of sport for the years 2011 to 2014. And we have consulted actually the sport representatives on this work plan, and we have received very encouraging feedback from them to help prepare the the work program at the EU level for the next period. We agree that also encouraging the public to exercise more was an important policy objective for us. And the same goes for making it easier for athletes to combine sport careers with education and work. And the Commission is helping member states and is available to help member states to achieve the objectives of exchanging and disseminating best practices in this area. And that was there was a panel discussion in the Sport Forum about, indeed, the dual careers of athletes. It was also an opportunity for us as Commission to present the new EU program for the education, youth, and training and sport, which is called Erasmus+, and for the first time will provide a funding stream for sports at EU level until the year 2020. We have invited a sport organization that were present, but also in general sport organization, to participate in this program, which, and we hope that they would provide very interesting and very high quality projects for EU funding and support. And since 2007, the EU has been providing around 22 million in support of preparatory actions in the area of sports in terms of projects. And we have seen already results that indeed through this means we can achieve EU added value for sport organizations and athletes and the society at large. There were in the forum a number of projects which gave examples of their results, an exhibition that showed that they were indeed raising awareness in EU society about sports issues, both at the local and at the EU level. So we believe that this new program, which is focusing on grassroots sports, will make a difference. And we were very happy to have testimonials from athletes, and in particular one of your basketball stars, which was Mr. Sarunas Marciulonis, sorry for the pronunciation, and thank you, and also from other athletes who came and talked about their examples to combine their sports career with their education. And indeed, we feel in the Commission that providing the athletes and young athletes with the dual careers is important so that they don't have to make a choice between having an education and pursuing a career in sports. And we would also like to avoid as much as possible talented young people to drop out from sport because they have indeed to provide for an education. And the EU guidelines on dual careers that the Council adopted last May will help us all monitoring progress in terms of what support the member states will be providing to athletes to indeed be able to see a second career after their athlete career will be finished. And just one more word to say that we are also in the Commission supporting the promoting awareness among the general public for the necessity to engage in health-enhancing physical activity. And we have just made a proposal at the request of the Council of a Council recommendation that now the Lithuanian presidency will bring forward and we hope will be adopted very soon. So again, I would like to thank the Lithuanian presidency for the opportunity to express our views here. Thank you.
Excellency, thank you very much. Yes, some words.
Labas vakaras.
Good afternoon. Microphone for the speaker. Microphone for the speaker.
Atsiprašau, aš noriu atkreipti jūsų dėmesį.
Good afternoon. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that such an event at such a high level, focusing so much on sport. This is the first time ever in our country. It was a very useful and a very rich forum in the terms of content. We focused mostly on the economic aspects of sports as a sector, and I'm very happy that for the first time this year, Lithuania started calculating the contribution of sport into the general economy. We want to be equal partners in this discussion with other state authorities and institutions when we discuss the distribution of finances. The preliminary calculations are rather limited and humble because the methodology covers the period only from 2008, when, as we all know, the crisis started. But in 1 year, we expect to have very solid results, highlighting the important role of sports and sports contribution for the economy. In this respect, I'd like to thank the Department of Statistics and Professor Chingiene for her work. I expect that we will rank as the 5th country according to those calculations. Verslo Žinios Daily has a question. Perhaps we could provide some concrete figures. What is the contribution and the impact of investment in sports? What are the returns from those investments in the European Union as a whole and in Lithuania? The aim of today's Informal Council was to share the information and to get information from those member states who have already made those calculations. And I'm happy to note that among those states we have Lithuania. You are right to mention that there are expenses, but there is also the benefit side. And we provided certain calculations in Informal Council, and we can do it now as well. It is a huge document, by the way. During the second session, it will be discussed in greater detail, and we will be able to provide it to you after the second session.
I have a question to the representative of the Commission. There have been speculations that major sport events cannot be organized in small countries because the return from these events is too small. They don't break even. So, has this been proven, and is this a rule, or could you deny it? And one more question. In the financial perspective, 2014-2020, do you have any specific figures on the possible investments of the EU into sport?
Well, what I can tell you about, first of all, for the first question is that the sport world is autonomous in making decisions on how to organize events and large and small events. So, but on the second question, which is more for our own EU remit, I must say that the figures are not yet decided. It will be for the co-legislators, so the Council and the European Parliament, to decide about the figures. But what can be said on the multi-annual financial framework, which is basically the framework, the budgetary framework, which will cover all the EU programs and all the financing from EU programs. As far as the area of education, training, youth and sport, one can already say that we are looking at a figure of about 14 and more billion euros for the 7-year period. But that, of course, is just an indication, because the actual figure will be known when indeed the Council and the European Parliament will have adopted this financial framework and the legal base for the new program Erasmus+.
Yes, I would like to ask you the follow-up question, because the question was about small countries. If they are organizing the big sport events here, about benefit and expenses for this one, you are welcome to say for the journalists your answer. Thank you very much.
Well, as I said, I mean, it's not for the Commission. There is no rule. I mean, it's more the sport world who will decide. What, of course, will be looking in our view is that indeed these investments that are being done would be sustainable. And there was a study done not about events, but in general from the Commission. There was a study that we have commissioned to see what was the impact and the value, the weight of the sport area to the economy, and one could see that indeed the weight of sport is potentially a very growing area of the economy, which goes already in terms of outturn to around 1.7% of the added value, it was mentioned. And in terms of jobs, it would also go to 2%. So in some areas, and in particular in smaller countries, the potential of growth has been considered by that study quite important, because let's say fallout that come from the basic sport area go into many more areas of the economy, such as tourism, such as the participation of the general public to sports. That means also more equipment, sports equipment and sports infrastructure. So I will invite you. This study is public, of course, and you can find all the elements related to it on the website of the European Commission, in particular of the sport area.
Taip, jeigu galima, aš papildysiu šiek tiek.
I would like to add something to this reply. When it comes to small countries, such as Lithuania, spending on infrastructure should be realistic and proportionate to our possibilities. Another thing is that the infrastructure which is being created for sports events should be used for a long time afterwards. This infrastructure could be used for cultural events and other societal needs. And the organization of such events should involve local communities, members of local communities who are interested in attending those events.
Ar dar bus klausimų?
Are there any more questions?
Dėkoju visiems susirinkusiems.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.